Welcome back to the Dark Reading News Desk here at Black Hat USA. We are here to talk the topic of Black Hat, of course, artificial intelligence. And I'm glad to welcome to the news desk John Ayers, VP of Offensive Security at Cyderes. He's joined by his colleague Mike Wyatt, VP of Threat Management, also with Cyderes. Gentlemen, thank you for doing the Dark Reading News Desk today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
This is, of course, like the topic of the show, right? It's very much on the minds of everybody involved with the security industry. John, let's start with you. I mean, the news flow is flooded with stories about AI, not just in security, but it feels like a transformative technology that's really going to change how we live and work. How do you see, just to turn to the dark side for a second, how do you see the weaponization of artificial intelligence starting to take place?
Actually, it's already started. I mean, social engineering, AI is weaponizing or actually making social engineering much, much harder. I think the next big element here is voice. We're seeing a lot of this transformation based on language modules and things of that nature where we're cloning people's voices. We're showcasing that at our booth right now where you can come in and use your voice, Terry, and then next thing you know, you sound like Donald Trump.
Well, that's a good way to get people away from me, I guess. But no, I've seen some of these demos, and the fidelity is startling. Is not too strong a word.
No, it's actually scary. We for the last few years, what have we been doing? We've been trying to do identity, trust but verify, zero trust around credentials and passwords. And now with biometrics becoming part of our everyday life, and now we're doing this ability with AI around voice characteristics and things of a nature of changing that, it's becoming a little scarier world. And look, let's face it, the weaponization around social engineering right now is we're making emails, AI is making emails harder for people to determine, is it a phishing email because we were looking for misspelled words, characterizations, grammar. And now AI is taking all of that away.
Yeah, the errors are disappearing. To use your example, AI and automated voice response, it feels like you're talking to a live human being. It feels super real. It's disturbing that there aren't the pauses or the giveaway monotone or these kinds of
accents, things of that nature. Absolutely.
With that in mind, what are you advising clients with regard to how to deploy AI in a safe way that doesn't backfire on them, that still keeps data protected, keeps users protected, that sort of thing?
I think the number one thing is assessing your environment for the need of AI. Is it a necessity, right? If it is, then there is a safe way of adopting it and implementing it. And the first thing is assessing it, right? And how it's being used. Today, hospitals are adopting AI for, as AI help desk. When you call into the hospital, I'm your AI receptionist. So you're seeing some of that adoption, and it's being done in a safe, controlled, guardrailed way because you can control that. So how are we doing that? We're helping clients create policies first around AI. Secondarily, we're using MITRE Atlas as a way to create detection rules so that you can alert on that type of AI that may be malicious, right? So there is ways to do that, but it is a step by assessing your environment first. Because right now, people are using ChatGPT to write reports, do POs, and all that data is going up into the open AI cloud, and you're losing control of it. So,
great point. Another aspect of AI that is starting to emerge is that otherwise benign, upstanding users are considering using AI for offensive purposes, which has always been a bit of a taboo subject on the enterprise cybersecurity side. Like, how rough do we want to fight back, in other words? There's not a one-size-fits-all kind of rule for this, obviously, but what do you advise customers who are flirting with this idea of like taking it back to the attackers?
Well, obviously, one, be careful, right? Because attackers do bite back. Running the offensive security team at Cyderes, we do use AI today as a way to do malware manipulation, things of that nature. But look, let's be really transparent here. bad guys are doing R&D right now, using everyone else to do that kind of stuff. So it's going to take some time for it to really become malicious.
Right. Mike Wyatt, let's bring you into this. Companies are also in tandem increasing their focus on strong identity and access management programs. What is driving that focus, and why now?
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, whenever we go into customers' environments and we assess how many SaaS apps they're using and things like that, and we start to connect them up to our detection and response service, we realize that there's always more applications that they have than they realize, right? And so at the end of the day, what we're finding is that in conjunction with threat actors using privileged access in almost every single attack now, the identity and access management is so important, especially in this platform economy that we live in today.
Right. What sort of issues are you seeing in the IAM space with regard to threats, vulnerabilities, that kind of thing?
I think there hasn't been a ton that's really materially changed over the last couple of years, right? Ransomware is still very, very prevalent. I mean,
sure.
Every day we're seeing more and more companies seeing their data being posted on the dark web and things like that. So more victims. But again, we're seeing things that we've seen quarter over quarter, like folks, threat actors going in, leveraging privileged access, and just really destroying environments, deleting admin accounts. That's a big one that we've seen several times. And I don't think companies are really ready to face that, right?
Sure.
I mean, some of the bigger enterprises that have a lot of time to prep for this and really try to be proactive with their IAM strategies is great. But then, a lot of the SMB companies are really lagging behind.
It wasn't that long ago that the conventional wisdom was, I've got multi-factor authentication, I've implemented zero trust, I'm good on identity and access management. Has that changed? Has AI kind of upped the stakes? What's happening there?
Well, as John mentioned, of course, we believe that it's going to continue to up the stakes, right? I mean, if we're leveraging voice or anything like that, like in our demo at our booth, we predict that there's going to be a more of a difficult time for defenders to actually come in and try to put controls in place to protect their business.
Right. What are some good complements to zero trust and MFA? Like, how can you further bolster the protections that you have around identity and access management in your organization?
Yeah, that's a good question. And in fact, zero trust is a concept, right? It's good and largely needed. It's also very difficult, and it takes a long time to put in place, right? One of the things that we're continuing to see as we ask this question to various folks and we try to help them is misconfigurations, are just rampant, in my opinion, right? Whether it's a SaaS application or it's a misconfiguration on a series of boxes, hosts inside of an environment, because like I mentioned, attacks today largely are about abusing privileged access,
okay,
and not really about exploitation and things like that. And so once somebody has access, now you really have to work with the business logic behind actually getting into the system and ensuring that people only have access to the things that they need. We used to call it principle of least privilege. It's still called that today, but I don't hear it's being coined very often. So,
right. Well, I want to thank you both for joining the Dark Reading News Desk today. I've been talking with John Ayers and Mike Wyatt of Cyderes. This has been Terry Sweeney for the Dark Reading News Desk. We'll be back right after this.